Let's talk about working with the timeline a little bit and this section down here. So we know how to add our in and out points. And what I did was I just added a few more clips in order to do this. So I just added in and out points and I just added those directly to the timeline. Now remember, if you want just the video file, you can grab this film strip and drag down. If you want just the audio file, some cases you might want that. You can drag this, or if you want both, you just click on the actual video itself and drag it down. So, what we want to do, let's talk a little bit about this. Now, you don't need to know every single thing about this, so let's talk about the main things, right? So, the first thing is sometimes I can't see my whole view here, my whole timeline. And if you want to resize it, and this isn't changing how long the clip is or anything like that, it's just resizing this. So it's like zooming in and zooming out. And you used the minus and plus key. So just with this selected, I'm using the plus key, it makes those clips bigger. And with the minus key, it's making them smaller. All right, so plus and minus. All right, so let's talk a little bit about this. Now, these are selected by default. Now, one that's probably not selected by default is this magnet. And I can't think of a time where I don't use the magnet. So right now, if it's selected, that means it's blue. But if it's unselected, that means that this is off here. So with the magnet unselected, notice that I can come in and it's not snapping anymore. So what I can do is end up overriding one of my clips. So I just hit Command Z to undo that. You always really want it to snap, and that's what this magnet is for. So if I click on this magnet, you can see that it's now snapping to the timeline here. All right. Now, the other thing that you'll see is this linked selection. So with this unselected, you'll notice that now my audio and my video are separate. So they're unlinked here. And I always really like to keep, especially if I have something with audio and video, I want it to be matched up. Now there'll be times where I may want to go in and I'll select this off where I can go in and, delete the audio because I may not want it or need it. But I always like to really keep this link selection on here. And we can do that. The other thing over here, now let's focus our attention here, right? And what I want to do is you'll see that you have this toggle where you don't actually see the video. So I can hide certain things that I want from view. Now down here you have the mute track. So I can mute this audio that's on line one. All right, and then I can also solo it means that it's only going to play that audio. So when you have multiple channels, this may come in handy for you, but usually I leave these alone simply because I like to keep them the way they are, because if I put an audio track there, I'm going to end up using it. So that's one of the things about the timeline that you can actually work with. Um, so familiarize yourself with the actual timeline and working with it. Now, one other thing that I want to show you about the timeline is the precedent that is set. So what happens is that whatever's on the bottom is on the bottom, and what's on the top is on the top. Whatever is on the top has precedent. It's almost like layers if you want to think of it that way. So let's just say that I have another video. Let's say I want this video here. We want to redo this one. And I'm just going to grab the video track and I'm going to sit it on top of one of these. So what's happening is this is actually taking precedent. So if I remove this, let's see, you'll see that it replaced what was on top. So this is one of the ways that I actually use B-roll, where I'll have, my interview, and I'm going to show you that, where I'll have the interview down here on one, and then I'll put my B-roll over here on top on two. So I still have the audio and the video, and I can plug in and play around with it as I see fit. So just think of it as layers if you want to think of it that way. But that's the way that it works. Whatever is on top, that's what's going to take precedent here.